Thanks for joining us on ARC Salt Lake tonight. I'm Heidi Hatch. It is Monday, June 9th. Tonight, we're taking an in-depth look into an exclusive story and a dive into the specifics of the current state of the Utah housing market. A 2 News exclusive, a flying object narrowly misses a woman behind the steering wheel. Christian Cito went to Pleasant Grove today to learn more about exactly what happened.
And I noticed something like flying towards the front of the car.
Monica Fowles and her mother were on their way to celebrate her mother's 80th birthday, but joy turned to fear. This metal object slamming into her windshield.
I had glass all over my face and in my mouth, and we pulled over to the side of the road.
Fowles says her mother screamed.
And my mom kind of screamed, "Monica, what just happened?" And I was like, "It's okay, Mom, it's okay." And
both got out to see the damage.
My mom was on the sidewalk and she was like, "Monica, we could have just died, you know?" And I was like, "Mom, I know it's scary. We could have just died, but like, we got to feel super grateful that right now we're in the position we are where there's only a windshield that's been damaged and that we're doing okay."
But these incidents aren't uncommon. Back in November, we reported that a driver was injured when a metal bar smashed through his windshield.
We were both shook up trying to figure out what you're supposed to do when a heavy flying object comes at your car.
Fowles said when she held the metal object, reality set in.
The heaviness of what it was and the thought of, had it been a little higher, gone all the way through the window, like what could have happened? It was a little bit frightening.
So after experiencing that and getting back on the road, have you felt differently?
So I was driving home on I-15 just today, and there was a little piece of like shimmery, probably like a tin can or some kind of paper that a truck ran over, and it came flying up, and I literally like flinched. Like it kind of was like, "Oh, that's coming at me." You know, I'm still feeling a little bit anxious.
She tells me she's much more aware now and that drivers should secure items in their vehicle. In Pleasant Grove, Christian Cito, KUTV 2 News.
You spend a lot of time chasing things that are flying down the road, just trying to keep them out of the roadway. It takes troopers off of the road when they could be doing other things. It's something that we see every day, and most importantly, it's something that's 100% preventable. That if people would just secure their loads properly, we wouldn't have to deal with it. Depending on what flies out, I mean, it may be something as simple as a towel from a boat or something like that, or a refrigerator. I mean, you just never know. And it can be catastrophic because people just don't have time to react. Going down the freeway at 70 miles an hour, your first reaction might be to swerve, and then you involve other vehicles that are next to you. So it's best to just try to slow down as best you can to try to avoid it. Always be aware of your surroundings and know what's around you so that you can have a plan to avoid something if you do come across it.
Now, UHP says this is one of the many things that can happen when drivers don't properly secure their loads. Every day, troopers say some of us are losing something out of their cars, as he said, towels to couches. Each time it happens, troopers have to remove it from the road, and that is dangerous for troopers. UHP says you could face fines of up to $1,000 for failing to secure your load. Time to talk a little weather. Meteorologist Sean Kelly here with that first alert and hot forecast.
Oh yeah, it is pretty brutal out there across the Wasatch Front. We're into the lower 90s. This is way above normal for this time of the year. We should only be into the lower 80s, and we're currently sitting at 91. We had a high so far of 93 degrees. You see it is sunny out there, sunny, bright, and beautiful though despite the heat. Temperatures later on this evening cooling down pretty quickly here, down into the 70s, and then only the 60s for lows. We've got clear skies and dry conditions from Logan southward into the Provo area back through Delta. We have some drizzle in the Price area and some weakening rain showers across the southern half of the state, mainly across some of the higher terrain, including out in Panguitch through Escalante, seeing some scattered light rain. Could maybe see some gusty winds behind this, heading towards Blanding, also seeing an isolated shower. And we have a weakening shower south and west of the Kanab area as well. Rain chances here, they still linger just a little bit, especially as we get into the day on Wednesday. We could see a few storms that produce some damaging winds. We'll talk about that severe weather threat that arrives as we get into Wednesday. That's coming up.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. Sean, thank you. There is a shakeup in the housing market, and if you're buying or selling, you'll want to listen up. According to a Redfin report, home prices in Utah fell about 11%, and the median price of our home is over $559,000. For the first time in over a decade, there are way more sellers than buyers. The National Desk's Angela Brown breaks down the impact.
If you're house hunting, you may have leverage. If you're selling, better buckle up. Redfin says 1.9 million homes are for sale, but only 1.5 million buyers in the game. That's 33.7 more sellers than buyers, the biggest imbalance Redfin has seen since 2013. Listen to Glenn Kellman, Redfin CEO, on CNBC last month.
There has been a real shift. So home buyers over the past few years shook off rate increases. Home prices kept rising. We anticipate that prices will fall at least 1% in the second half of 2025.
That shift could benefit buyers who've been priced out, but make no mistake about it, the market is showing real signs of strain. Mortgage applications are falling, according to Mortgage Banking Association. Affordability, of course, is still a huge hurdle. The average 30-year fixed mortgage rate is hovering around 6.84%, according to Bankrate.
And so the market we're in now is slowly active inventory is rising. Completed unsold new construction is rising, and the power dynamic is moving more and more from sellers to buyers.
Another warning sign, a rise in what experts call zombie properties, homes abandoned during foreclosure and left sitting empty. In Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
Many are asking the age-old question right now, is it a buyer or a seller's market? More homes are popping up as inventory, but researchers here in Utah say while supply and demand does play a role into housing costs, there are a lot more economic factors that are coming into play.
I get the question, is it a buyer's or seller's market right now? I would say it's neither. It's really the buyers right now that exist are the only ones who can afford, and that's a smaller group than what we're used to. So those buyers have more choice and more bargaining power, but the sellers aren't stressed enough to make dramatic price changes. There's some price exploration, but I think, you know, in Utah, the average homeowner has about $250,000, $260,000 in equity, and the economy's good in terms of jobs and unemployment rate. So we're not seeing stress. You know, why are sellers selling? Some are fishing, you know, seeing what they could get, but also you have life happening, you know, whether it's divorce, marriage, something good, something bad. So the reason people are selling is not, to me, a negative reason. It's not out of stress yet. In Utah, there's a little bit of seller fishing, seeing what they can get, and then too, you know, when we look at the number of buyers has been pretty consistent the last year. We're not seeing major change there, but it's significantly lower than what we saw during COVID and pre-COVID, right? As the interest rates went up, you shrink the number of buyers that can afford what's for sale.
Now, we also spoke with a realtor about what she's advising her sellers right now. She says competition is high, and that means she's keeping an eye on pricing accurately and making sure that the home is in good condition.
Pricing a little bit under current market value is making us stand out more. I feel like with the cost of getting into a home already, buyers are less interested in a fixer-upper. So new carpet, new paint, refreshing the front lawn all goes a long way.
Earl says that buyers have an advantage right now with seeing more options available than Utahns have seen in previous years. Let's take a closer look at housing prices here in the state of Utah. This map on your screen shows the average listing prices for the larger counties. According to Redfin, homes in Salt Lake and Utah counties are being listed for around $600,000. Washington County is even higher at $630,000. You can see the prices in Davis, Cache, and Weber ranging from $584 to $512. And now looking at the city level, where you can see the average listing price in Salt Lake City is nearly $630,000. Now, one of the largest cities with less expensive housing is Ogden, where homes are there being listed for around $400,000 on average. Now, the most expensive city, maybe no surprise here, it's Park City, where the average listing, you gotta have a lot of cash, $2.75 million. We'd like to hear from you on what you're thinking about this. You can scan the QR code you can see on your screen to vote in our poll question today. The question, what's the biggest challenge to buying a home right now? Most of you, the vast majority at 60%, say prices are simply still too high. In northern Utah, Logan police need your help tonight in the search for 15-year-old Aladdin Garner. Aladdin was last seen yesterday playing soccer at Logan High School. If you believe you've seen him, call Logan City Police using the number that you see here on your screen. For continued coverage on Utah's missing cases, make sure to join us Wednesdays at 7 o'clock right here on Arc Salt Lake. We are dedicating to helping families find their loved ones and find closure. Like always, you can reach out if you have a case you would like us to look into. Coming up here on Arc Salt Lake, the city of St. George has tracked at least a dozen compromised accounts, while many more could be affected. Covering St. George tonight, where the city is now issuing a warning. A string of cyber attacks have been targeting local businesses and fishing for your information. Liv Kelleher is at City Hall tonight with the very latest.
It's a horrible feeling in the pit of your stomach to think I've got to hurry up and try and cancel everything.
Kent Colson from St. George Flooring says he thought it was a legitimate file from a past client.
Maybe it's something that from a job we did about a year ago. Maybe they need some information. It said it's a secure file.
What seemed routine quickly felt wrong.
Clicked to open it up, and then it redirected me, like I say, to Google and wanted me to enter my password. And that's when after the second time of trying 2 passwords and thinking, I know I put the right password in, I started to get that sinking feeling in my stomach like, uh-oh, something's not right about this.
City officials say this type of scam is gaining popularity in St. George.
Local business email accounts have been hacked into, and they are then sending malicious things to people in their contact list and others.
Jordan Goethe with the city's tech department says the goal is simple: steal information or money. The common thread, they rely on you knowing the sender.
Oh, I know this business. I've worked with them in the past. I'm going to trust whatever they send me. I think that's kind of what they're going for.
His advice: stronger account security.
Time to make your 8-character password into a 16-character one, put on a multi-factor.
He says they've tracked at least a dozen compromised accounts so far, but more may be affected.
I don't even know the scale, but it's more and more by the day.
That was Liv Kelleher reporting. The FBI says there are things that you can do to protect your data. That includes keeping your computer systems and your software up to date. They also recommend making strong and unique passwords for each and every account. Do not open an attachment that you receive unless you're expecting that file, and do not conduct any sensitive transactions when you're using public Wi-Fi. Attorney General Derek Brown now asking a judge to lift the stay of execution for Ralph Menzies. The Attorney General wants an execution warrant on the soonest available date. It comes after a judge ruled Menzies can be executed despite showing signs of dementia. It was back in 1986 that Menzies was convicted of killing Maureen Hunsaker. At his sentencing in 1988, Menzies said he wanted to be executed by firing squad. We want to take a closer look now at the timeline of this case. Maureen Hunsaker's body was found in Cottonwood Canyon in 1986. Menzies charged with murder in June of that year. It was nearly 2 years later, March 8th of 1988, that the jury returned the guilty verdict. In April of 1995, Menzies' execution date set for June 2nd of that year. A month later, the execution stayed. In December of 2002, the state filed a motion to lift the execution stay. In September of 2003, another execution date was set for November 10th. The execution was stayed again later that year. In January of 2024, the state filed another application for warrant of execution, and the defense filed a petition for determination of competency. Now, wildfire season is in full swing here across the state of Utah. Most fire headlines focus on the human toll, but what about our wildlife?
They do move away from the fire, but maybe not as far as you think, and they tend to come back relatively quickly.
Coming up tonight on 2 News at 10 o'clock, we're exploring how wildfires can affect Utah wildlife. How often are animals injured by fire? Plus, we'll show you where some animals may end up if they're hurt in a fire. It's all coming up tonight on 2 News at 10. Right now, though, we are talking about the heat. It feels like we're in July. Meteorologist Sean Kelly here with that first alert and hot forecast.
Yeah, this certainly is not normal. In fact, we are 10 degrees above normal for a high temperature today. 11 actually. 93 was the high. The normal is 82 for this time of the year. So yeah, it's been brutal out there. Even hotter in the St. George area. 95 degrees. A little bit gusty with some thunderstorms and some showers around us, but we're drying things out for the majority of southern Utah right now. Up and down the Wasatch Front, we're into the 80s and 90s. The sun has been out. It's been absolutely gorgeous in that respect. 90 in Delta, 91 in Milford, 71 in Panguitch with some rain cool there, 93 in Hanksville. We've got another evening here with some strong to severe thunderstorms further across the eastern half of the nation from the Tennessee Valley up through the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Monsoonal rain showers across the Four Corners and then across the state. Just dealing with a few isolated showers, but overall it's kind of weakening quite a bit, mainly just some gusty winds and some light rain in the Panguitch area back eastward through Escalante. A lot of these thunderstorms collapsing, so the majority of us will continue to stay dry. But we do have to get ready for the potential for a few isolated storms that could be severe, at least close to it as we get into today on Wednesday. Dangerous lightning and damaging microburst winds will be possible, 60 to 75 miles per hour with even some small hail. The majority of us, though, will stay dry with that severe weather threat, so I want to mention that. As we get through the evening, we'll continue to dry things out completely, waking up to partly cloudy skies tomorrow morning, and then seeing another round of some late afternoon and evening showers out there, mainly across the higher terrain. But as we get into Wednesday evening, the timeline would be right around from about 2 to 6 p.m. That's when we could see some gusty winds and some of that damaging thunderstorms. But the majority of us, including the valleys, will likely stay dry with the storms that do develop. Lows tonight, we're into the 60s and 50s, so a beautiful evening and mild evening ahead. But the heat is on tomorrow. We are back up into the middle 90s here, well above normal. And St. George here is looking hot, hot, hot each and every day. We've got triple-digit temperatures. In fact, it gets even hotter as we head into the weekend and into early next week. Along the Wasatch Front, we're getting hotter as well. 95 on Wednesday with a passing shower or storm, some gusty winds out of that, and then even hotter conditions as we get into Friday and Saturday. So the heat is on. Make sure everyone is staying hydrated and reapplying that sunscreen. Breezy winds will settle in from Friday. That'll linger into next week with more heat to continue into next week as well.
All right, Sean, thank you. Coming up here on Arc Salt Lake, a royal collection is up for auction. How hats, handbags, and more will support muscular dystrophy. Trending now, a 90-year-old Missouri man celebrated his birthday by doing the unthinkable, jumping out of a plane. Cook's a retired Missouri state trooper who started his career in the 60s. Friends and family gathered to watch this leap of faith and celebrate with him at the landing spot.
Yes, skydiving has been one of the items on Joe's bucket list. Another one is publishing a book, which he did last fall. He says he recommends the experience to anyone and would do it again as well tomorrow.
I feel like if I'm going to jump out of a plane, 90's the time to do it. If something goes wrong, you've lived a great life.
I'm terrified of heights, but maybe when I get to 90,
right?
I'll be less scared.
You have to push me out of a good plane. Hey, from hats to handbags, items belonging to the late Princess Diana could be yours this month in the largest collection of hers to go to auction yet. The live and online sale will take place on June 26th at the Peninsula Beverly Hills. It offers an array of fashion items that Diana wore.
Yeah, the auction also includes pieces belonging to other British royals, including the late Queen Elizabeth II and the Queen Mother. Part of the proceeds from the sale of Diana's items will go to a charity supporting those with muscular dystrophy.
Ah, some cool 80s fashion there. I'm guessing that you have to have a whole heck of a lot of money, though,
yeah,
if you want to buy into this here.
Right.
All right, if people are heading out this evening, it's going to be toasty.
Yeah, it's toasty. We're into the 90s, and we're kind of in this for the long haul. Summer's really here to stay.
Summer's here, so turn on the sprinklers, run through them, but only if you're not in restrictions in your area, because I know some of you have them. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again for Tune News at 9 and 10.